All right, welcome back to Metro Morning Live. It is now 13, let's say 14, we don't want to say 13. It's 14 minutes past the hour. Time now for our segment we call You and Your Money with our guest, Jim Griffith. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning,
It's been a
Rob.
long time since I've seen you, Jim.
Yeah, Rob, you know, the weather shut us down for a minute, but we're
Absolutely.
back.
Yes, sir, but coming back strong, Jim. I guess this morning we're going to talk about protection plans.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what exactly is the protection plan?
Well, Rob, the protection plan is a retirement plan that guarantees you a meaningful retirement and protection during retirement. Mm-hmm. That, in essence, is the protection plan. Now, let me tell you a story. In 1992, an American author and relationship counselor, after getting degrees in meditation and psychology, wrote a book. The name of the book, you and I both are familiar with it, is Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. Mm-hmm. Now, the point he wanted to make in this book is real simple, and that is that there was a big difference in the way that men and women think. So the point is that when it comes to the financial system, you've got a bunch of financial geniuses running and designing the system. And you've got a bunch of financial novices that, quite frankly, don't know the difference in a stock and a bond. So when it comes to retirement planning, the retirement system is from Mars, and the people using the system are from Venus, okay? All right. Now, what this does, Rob, is it creates a disconnect in the perception between the two camps. This disconnect creates a lack of financial knowledge when it comes to the proper way to plan for retirement.
Now, how do you fix this disconnect?
Well, I'm glad you said that because it takes me back.
I don't mean you personally, but...
well, we try to do everything we can to fix it, but what that does is that reminds me of an old saying, and that is that a mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a great thing to invest in. And that's where we come in, because we are passionate about helping people and showing them the right way to plan for retirement and protect their assets. Now, we found in the 2018 Topics in Retirement and Financial Wellbeing Report that workers want more help across the board when it comes to financial topics.
And when it comes to those topics, what are the workers concerned about?
That's a good question, Rob. The number one concern is that they want to save more money for retirement. The other thing that workers looked at is they want to get more benefits from their employers, like paying off student debt, planning for college education, and even things like identity theft protection. But as you can expect, the guys from Mars, these financial geniuses, aren't very straightforward when it comes to providing these benefits.
Wow.
They simply don't want to do it.
Wow. And Jim, what needs to be done to get additional benefits for employees?
Well, the most important thing a person can do is take the time to increase your financial literacy, because financial knowledge is financial power. Just like in sports, you've got to know the rules and the plays to win the game. You got the same thing happening in the retirement system. You've got to know the rules, Rob. And what happens is, Rob, people don't know the rules. What they do is what these financial geniuses tell them to do.
What are they telling them?
Well, Rob, what happens is this. Most people are told to use a 401k plan, put the maximum amount of money into that plan, and then when they retire, they'll have a meaningful retirement. Well, that simply is not the case, because we have a retirement crisis in this country now because of 401k plans. This is where the difference in perception and reality come into play. The reality in most retirement plans is simply this. They are a train wreck waiting to happen.
Wow.
Okay? And this can be prevented by using the protection plan. Now, the protection plan is different. People have to change the way they do things, but we can prevent this train wreck from happening by simply using a different method to plan for retirement, and that would be the protection plan. Let's take a look at a little video footage so we can explain to people what I really mean by perception versus reality.
Okay.
Where will your retirement money come from? One survey shows there's an alarming difference between perception and reality. Only 49% of today's workers expect Social Security will be a major source of retirement income. but 63% of retirees report that it is. That may not be enough, since Social Security paid retired workers an average monthly benefit of just over $1,300. There's more. 46% of workers expect employer-sponsored retirement plans to play a big role, yet only 21% of those retired report that they actually do. Today's workers also have high expectations for their IRAs. 28% believe their IRA will be a major source of income, but only 16% of retirees say it is. 67% of today's workers expect to keep working after they retire. In reality, only 23% of retirees remain on the job. Take steps to make sure your perception of retirement becomes a reality. Call today and we can develop an approach that will help you pursue your goals.
All right, Jim, always great information. What are the perceptions versus reality when it comes to retirement?
Rob, I'm glad you asked that. The perception is that these financial geniuses tell you to put your money into these 401k plans and max them out. And if you do that, when you get ready to retire, you'll have a meaningful retirement. The reality is this: you put in 100% of the money, you take 100% of the risk, and when you need the money the most at retirement and you get ready to pull that money out, you get taxed out of your gourd because you've got to pay taxes on that money. In addition to that, you only get a third of the return from that retirement plan after all those years of savings because of the compounding fees and expenses inside the plan. In addition to that, if you do well with a 401k plan, and because that income is taxable when you take it out, your Social Security could get taxed anywhere between 50 and 85%. Now, another perception is that Medicaid and Medicare will be there to pay for your long-term care expenses and your medical expenses. The reality is that by using these 401k plans, if you do well and you accumulate substantial assets, you don't qualify for Medicaid because you have too many assets. What you have to do is you have to spend down all of that money that you worked for, all of those years, until you essentially are destitute. I believe it's something like you have to have, they won't allow you to have more than $4,000, keep your home, your car, and some of your personal belongings. So it's even worse with high income earners, business owners, and people that have really large estates.
And finally, Jim, what are people to do to avoid all of these pitfalls?
But what people need to do is they need to change the way that they plan for retirement and the way that they protect their retirement assets. Now, Rob, as you know, Albert Einstein said that when you continue to do the same thing over and over again, that is the definition of insanity. So these financial geniuses, over the last 30 years or so, since we had the 401k plan, have told everyone to put the maximum amount of money into these plans. And when you retire, you'll have a meaningful retirement. Well, that simply is not the case because we have a retirement crisis in this country. Now, the other thing is that Time magazine recently said that the 401k plan is a lousy depository for your retirement savings and a financial flop. So this is why people need the protection plan. With the protection plan, if you die before you retire, it gives your family a tax-free legacy benefit. A 401k plan does not do that. It also gives you tax-free income for life. And because that income is tax-free, you never have to worry about your Social Security getting taxed at all. So you're able to get 100% of your retirement income and 100% of your Social Security income. The other thing is that you can never lose money with the protection plan because it's different. It's a different way of doing things and a different way of planning for retirement. You also get money for critical, chronic, and terminal illness with the protection plan. And one of the most important things I think is that if you have an emergency and you're using a protection plan and you need money, you can access that money without having to pay that 10% penalty, which I think you and I both are very familiar with. So you have liquidity without any penalty, and you have control over your money. So Rob, in essence, what we do is we want to help people change their lives and build a better future. And to do that, people need to understand that they need to change the way that they look at retirement, that they plan for retirement, and the way that they protect their assets when they're in retirement.
All right.
Because when it comes to retirement and the protection plan, it is different. And as I always like to say, different is not always better, but better is always different.
Right.
And the retirement plan is different. That is what makes it a better choice for retirement.
All right, Jim, tell everybody how they can find you, sir.
Well, I appreciate it, Rob. You can get in contact with us at griffithfinancialservices.com. You can also call us at 800-361-6542, and we are conveniently located at 907 Morningside Street, Suite D3 in Jackson.
All right, Jim, great information as always. Thanks again, sir.
Well, thank you, Rob.
All right,
Appreciate
Jim.
you having me on.
All right, stay with us. We're back after this.